Women educators are natural givers, pouring into their students, their families, and communities. But what about pouring into you? This is the Educator Sanctuary, where we help you ditch the guilt and unapologetically put yourself at the top of your list. I'm Dr. Leah, educator, mindset coach, and your guide to creating a life where you align with your purpose and reclaim your power. So if you're ready to set boundaries and step fully into the woman you're meant to be, you're definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey, and welcome to the Educator Sanctuary, where we have big conversations, mindset shifts, personal growth, and all the things that help you live more intentionally. You can probably hear it in my voice, but you all, I am screaming in my heart right now because today I have done something incredible. Literally, guys, over 1,000 downloads on this podcast. If you listened last week, I said it is 7 days and just a few more to go, and I know we can do it. It was a little over 100, but I was like, it's no reason that we could not do it in the 7 days. 9 months of showing up, pressing record, sharing lessons, stories, struggles, breakthroughs, and wisdom, all with you. And the fact that you all have listened, shared, and engaged is nothing short of God's promise, God's miracles, God's faithfulness. And while all of this is exciting for me, that does not honor you, the journey, or the work that it takes to create the transformation in your life. So even though today is a very symbolic and celebratory moment for me, I want to go even deeper. Today, I want us to really examine what happens when faith, consistency, and action collide. Here's the truth. Growth, impact, and breakthroughs do not happen overnight. They happen through consistent small steps, through the moments where you show up imperfectly when no one else notices, and when faith asks you to move before you can even see the results. I want you to think about your journey right now. Maybe you have been praying or working, building or waiting. Maybe you have wanted to quit. Maybe you have felt invisible, or maybe you have wondered if your efforts even matter. And here's the thing. It does, because every small step you take is absolutely a deposit in your future. Every action you take, no matter how tiny, absolutely builds momentum. And that momentum ends up becoming your moment, your miracle. I have learned over the years that consistency is not flashy. It does not always feel exciting in the moment, but it is very sacred because it does set the stage for your breakthrough. And when God aligns with your actions, when you move on those nudges and those whispers and the inspiration that we talked about last week that He placed inside of you, that's when the magic happens. I want you to think right now about planting a tiny seed in the soil. This is a project that I did with my students over the past couple of weeks, and we planted bean seeds. At first, when you put the seed in the soil, you put a little bit water on it, you take it and you put it in your windowsill or wherever you put it, and nothing happens. There's no magic on day one. And sometimes for days or maybe even weeks, you walk by and all you see is dirt. You might wonder if it's getting enough light and readjust its position. You may even give it a little bit more water if you see that the soil is dry, because you're nurturing something that is meant to grow. But nothing is happening. But yet somehow you still want to care for it.
because you're trusting that one day something will happen. Underneath that surface, though, the unseen, the roots are growing deep. Slowly, there is life forming below that soil. And then after some time, the stem might begin to push upward. Boop! Finally, a small shoot breaks through, leaves start to appear, and eventually the plant begins to grow towards its full potential. It starts producing the fruit of all the energy and care that you've been putting into it. Now, that plant is symbolic of your daily investments in whatever it is that you desire to do. Even when things seem invisible, even when it doesn't seem like things are moving along, even when the outcome of what you're planning for seems like you won't reach it, something is forming. Life is creating. That goal is coming into fruition. If you keep nurturing it, if you keep providing what it needs, eventually that growth will become unstoppable. That is what your consistent actions, faith, and small steps do in your life right now if you start. So I want you to think about where you are in life for a second. And I want you to think about what is that dream that you've been praying for, or the calling that you know that you've been asked to step into that you haven't done yet. What about the project that you might have been working on that hasn't shown its immediate results? Or maybe it actually had some results, but you quit because it didn't look like somebody else's success. Here is where the rubber meets the road. Showing up isn't always about convenience. Sometimes showing up means pushing through the moments where everything seems to be against you. And that is exactly what this journey of building this podcast has taught me. I want to share with you the beginning of my podcast journey when I first started. I was excited and I was extremely organized. I had 2 or 3 episodes already in the bag, right? I was already planning for week 6 in week 3 because I was ahead of the game. But then life happened. Somebody called me and they needed my help on their project. And that actually set me back a couple of weeks because I helped them for a while. I tried to catch up, but it seemed like every time I kept scheduling myself to record, something would happen. Somebody else needed me. I got sick, life interruptions. It was just, everything was just going on. One day after my daughter's gymnastics, this was probably one of the most prominent memories. The plan was for me to go straight home and record. My daughter got hungry. She wanted to go grab something to eat. We did. We stopped at a pizza place near her gymnastics, and I was eating clean during this time and ordered what I thought was clean pizza, clean ingredients and everything. Sat in the car, and I decided that I would eat a slice or 2 of that pizza before we got home. And unfortunately, I didn't get home immediately because I had
Hey, Educator Sanctuary listeners. Are you a homeschooling mom or thinking about it, but feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or maybe unsure how to confidently guide your child's learning journey? Maybe you're craving time for self-care, rest, or just a break, but you feel like you're doing it all on your own without anyone to turn to for help. Let me introduce you to Purpose Prep Academy, an online and in-person STEAM micro school for learners in grades K-8. Purpose Prep Academy isn't just any school. It's a space where young minds are nurtured, empowered, and taught to lead with confidence, curiosity, and purpose. Purpose Prep Academy focuses on providing students with the academic tools they need while fostering personal growth to help them thrive both inside and outside the classroom.
At Purpose Prep Academy, they offer personalized learning, foster critical thinking, and provide real-world applications to help students become 21st century leaders and change makers. If you're looking for a program that can help you reclaim your time, give you peace of mind, or simply give your child a space to thrive, Purpose Prep Academy could be exactly what you've been looking for. Want to learn more? Visit purposeprepacademy.org to schedule a virtual meeting or an experience day and find out if Purpose Prep Academy is the right fit for your family. An allergic reaction, even though I'm not allergic to anything, or at least I hadn't been allergic to anything up until that point. Went to the ER and was there for hours. And of course, for the first, I don't know how long, I wasn't thinking about anything. But after everything had calmed down and it seemed like I was, coming back to myself, the first thing I did was cry. And I said, no, I'm not going to be able to do my podcast. But as determined as I was to not miss a day, no matter what, throat hurting and all, I went home, had a couple of lozenges, put some honey in my throat, let it soothe and relax. And I sat up probably until about 2 or 3 o'clock that morning, and I recorded my podcast. I felt like that day was discouraging. If nothing else made me feel like there was something that I had going on inside of me that was self-sabotaging, or maybe that I was being tested, or all of the above. It was that particular moment that I said, my podcast is going to come out every Wednesday, no matter what. I don't know what the force is out there that is trying to stop me from getting my podcast out. But I know for a fact that this podcast is going to be dynamic, and this podcast is going to change lives, because there are too many things happening to keep me from getting the podcast out, more than the things that are happening to help me and support me. It didn't get immediately better. There were nights that I edited until 5 a.m., knowing that I had to get up at 7 a.m. to be at work at 9 a.m. It was exhausting, but I showed up because more than I wanted to commit to myself, I felt like someone out there was going to need the words I prepared. And that's what small steps look like in real life. They are not always glamorous. They don't always feel convenient, but every single one of them moves the needle, even if the movement seems invisible at first. The more I committed to showing up, the more things started to fall in place. Recording started to become easier at some point. I was able to get my podcast recorded earlier at some point. I was able to ask for help one day, and I got somebody to watch my daughter so that I could get ahead again by 5 or 6 episodes. I was able to find my rhythm because I planted the thought in my mind that no matter what, that podcast was going to be released. Whether I had 1 listener, 20 listeners, or 100 listeners, the show had to go on. And God honored that, and God expanded it. Consistency is sacred because it is your faith in motion. It's trusting God's timing and responding to nudges even when you don't fully understand the plan. It is showing up week after week and day after day and trusting that your life is unfolding in alignment with your purpose. This podcast hitting 1,000 downloads was super exciting, and this is just the beginning, right? The next goal, I think, is 2,500, and I'm going to try to get there by December the 31st. But it didn't happen because I had the perfect plan. It definitely did not happen because I knew a lot of people who were going to listen to this podcast. It only happened because I kept showing up and I kept my commitment to myself because I cared about the lives it was going to change. Getting to the 1,000 downloads was definitely not as easy as I thought it was going to be, because A download is not one person following your podcast. One person can listen to 10 episodes. That's 10 downloads. So if 100 people listen to 10 episodes, we got momentum. If 1,000 people listen to 100 episodes, we got real momentum. So it's like we don't even need a lot of people to reach the goals. We just need people to listen to multiple episodes. And I thought that would be easy because I'm like, people can listen in their car or in the shower or whatever. But that the reality, it wasn't a beeline. I could even ask, hey, can you listen to the podcast? And people would say yes. And then I can send it out to 10 or 15 people and they would all say yes, 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 yes. And at the end of the day, I would go look and there's only 2 people that listened, even though 15 said yes. So it was not necessarily easy. I learned after a while, like, oh, wow, it's going to be a lot harder. And I'm going to need a lot more people to be able to listen to this podcast. So at some point, I had to take my eyes off of the numbers. And I just started focusing on talking to the one listener who needed me to show up each week. That actually made it really easy for me to keep going when it felt inconvenient, when it felt exhausting, and on some days when it felt like it's downright impossible because I don't have anything to give today. I should be going to bed right now. I should be resting because I just got out the hospital. I should be doing something. But I knew that if I just pressed forward for the one other person whose life wasn't at the point of where I was and who needed to get there, that's what gave me the momentum to keep going. So now I want to shift this back to you. Think about the work or the goals happening in your own life right now. Where have you been stretched beyond what you thought you could handle? What is a dream or goal that you feel has been delayed so many times that it's feel like, man, this is never going to happen? If you really think about it, delayed doesn't always mean denial. The truth is, if you're doing things with purpose, not just for yourself, but for the person who is meant to be blessed by it, you will find out more often than not that quitting isn't an option. There's a job that you're showing up to right now, not because you like your job, not even because you like your boss, but because you like your coworkers. I actually like playing this game because it's pretty challenging, but the game frustrates me sometimes too. And my daughter asked me, she said, Mom, if the game keeps frustrating you, why do you keep playing it? And the reality of it is I do like the game, but it does frustrate me. But why do I stay? Because even though it frustrates me, it's because I like my team and I want to show up for my team. So we all have that within us where we're able to keep going because of someone else. And you can use whatever that someone else is as a motivator to reach the goal that is important to you, to make it so that quitting isn't an option for you. Another instance that I have of this is when I was on my weight loss journey years ago. And there were days that I didn't feel like going to the gym. There were days that I just felt like eating a tub of ice cream. There were days that I felt like just letting go and it didn't matter. But I was documenting my life and my journey on social media. And I didn't want to quit because I knew that the strength that I had reaching my goals was going to make it possible in someone else's mind so that they could also do it too. I knew that me reaching my goal was going to save someone else. So when it felt hard and when it felt like I should give up or I should have a cheat day or I should just take a week off, I didn't because someone else needed me more. And when you make it about somebody else, then quitting isn't an option. Your consistency isn't just about you. It affects every life that you are meant to touch through the gift and through the purpose and through the goal that God planted inside of you. If you're new here, this is my favorite part of the show, and it's called homework, because what kind of educator would I be if I do not give homework? We don't just listen here at the Educator Sanctuary. We apply. That is how you change your life. So this week, I'm challenging you to pick one non-negotiable action you know you need to create consistency around, and one that will move your dream forward. No excuses, no waiting for the perfect moment. Decide right now what it is and that this is going to be your commitment, and promise yourself that you will not leave 2025 without committing to and completing your goal. I challenge you to write it down. I challenge you to schedule it. I challenge you to protect it and to do it even if it feels inconvenient or hard. If something or someone is in your way, then get rid of that or delegate that or deprioritize that, because that is not part of your commitment. This commitment is your seed, your small sacred investment that will grow into something unstoppable as long as you continue to nurture it. Now, if you don't remember anything I've said in this entire podcast, I want you to please remember the power that you have is not in your outcome. It is absolutely in your journey. It's where you show up and how you show up. It's in trusting the process, trusting yourself, and trusting that God is moving you forward, even when your finish seems impossible. Every single time you act on what you know you should do, you are reshaping your life and the lives of those you're meant to reach. Because after all, this life was never made for just you to thrive in by yourself. It was made for you to come and use your gifts to lead others to a better place. I hope this message touched you today. At the time that you are listening to this, the words that I share each week have touched people in 4 countries, plus over 125 cities across 32 states within the U.S. I'm actually so grateful because I know for a fact that nobody but God could have allowed me to do this. I started this podcast in January. My first episode aired on January the 15th of this year. And now in the 10th month, after 40 episodes, you are listening months to the exact day that I shared episode 1, and now we are over 1,000 downloads. Listen, I wanted to do this in 6 months, but I believe in alignment. There is something about it being in the 10th month and after 40 episodes that I hit 1,000. Not only am I over the moon excited because being at 1,000 plus downloads is not just about a number, it is literally the proof of faith, of consistency, and action at work. And I'm just getting started. I really do hope this episode inspires you to show up for yourself, for your purpose, and for the people who need your voice, your gift, and your presence on this earth. I encourage you to share this episode with someone who might need it. And to keep fueling your soul, please listen while you're driving, working, cooking, walking, or anywhere you are. Keep showing up, keep planting seeds, and keep nurturing the goals that you can't see with action, because the miracle you're waiting for, it's already in motion. Thanks for listening. You know what I always say. Talk soon. Thank you for joining me in the Educator Sanctuary, where we create a space for women educators to reclaim their power and prioritize themselves unapologetically. If you've loved what you've heard, please do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other amazing women who need to hear this message. Until next time, remember, you are capable, you are powerful, and you are absolutely worthy. You've got this. Talk soon.